25 years ago, I bought a print of a castle set in a frame mount in Kenny's bookshop in Galway. Having been born and grown up in Donegal town, I instantly recognised the scene in the print. It depicted O'Donnell's castle, which sits beside the River Esk right outside our front door in Waterloo Place here in Donegal town. What was unusual about the print was that the bridge crossed the river from behind the castle across to Waterloo Place, not where the bridge is now, and a signature Lewis was visible in the corner of the print. The print had a handwritten sticker on it saying Castle of Iron, and I asked the man in the shop where was the Castle of Iron. "Oh, up in Malvern Head, I think," he said. But I knew it was our castle here in Donegal town. The Castle of Iron may have been a reference to Lord Iron, who was formerly a landlord around South County Donegal. There was something else unusual about this print. I could see writing coming through from the back of the print, on the back of the page. As a wee boy, I had been told that there was once a bridge across the river from behind the castle to Waterloo Place, and carried up the main road to Mount Charles and on to Killybegs. It ran up past what they call Meeting House Street now, where the Forge pub is. But the late Eiley McBurdy, who owned that pub beforehand, always referred to that end of the town as Bridge End, and her pub was actually known as the Bridge End Bar. When I got back home, I opened up the mount to see what the writing on the back of the page was, and it was part of a narrative account of the history of the O'Donnells, and also about a plot by Sir John Perrott, who was trying to capture the young Reggie O'Donnell in 1587. It was fascinating to read, although incomplete, and the paper and the ink tag pointed towards a document being well over 100 years old. And the print had the words Donegal Castle printed underneath the photograph, or the drawing. This was also the first representation of an older bridge crossing the River Esk that I'd ever seen. So I put it in a frame and I stuck it on my wall, and it's been hanging there ever since, until COVID lockdown 3 came along. In January of this year, I decided to clean the inside of the glass of the frame, and when I took out the print, I noticed a piece of paper was folded over the tape of the mount. I took off a little bit of paper and I folded it up, and there I saw at the top was the name of a magazine, the Dublin Saturday magazine, with the words Volume 1, Number 14, Price 1 penny, printed underneath it. And so began a few months of research into the origin of the print and the authenticity of the picture showing the bridge. I discovered that a book of reprinted Dublin Saturday magazines in multiple was published as a collective in 1865 by J. Mullaney in Dublin under the title The Dublin Saturday Magazine. There is a physical copy of this 1865 compilation in both the University College Dublin in the James Joyce Library and in the National Library of Ireland, and in other UK and US libraries. The compilation is printed in black and white, but my print is in colour. As my print had the words Volume 1, Price 1 penny, Number 14 written on it, it indicates that the original was individual magazines, probably printed weekly, before the 1865 compilation book was published. And I managed to access and download a full copy of this Dublin Saturday magazine, Volume 1, and this therefore dates my print of the castle and the old bridge to at least 156 years old. Each of these magazines consisted of stories and news from around Ireland, and historical accounts with lithographic prints and descriptive articles. I have no idea how my print came to be in a mounted frame in a bookshop in Galway, but it definitely come from an original Dublin Saturday magazine. I decided to look for any information on that original bridge across the River Esk from behind the Donegal Castle, and I uncovered some really interesting drawings, maps and descriptions during the period. Now my print was signed Lewis, with SL inscribed on the left-hand side of the bridge. I uncovered that a cartographer and publisher named Samuel Lewis had travelled around Ireland in the early 1800s, writing and drawing maps and sketches. He published a topographical dictionary of Ireland in 1837 in 2 volumes. In 1775, even earlier, Richard Twice, in his guidebook A Tour of Ireland in 1775, wrote, "I then went to Raphoe, and I traversing bogs and mountains arrived at Donegal, where there is a tolerable bridge of 6 arches and a large ruined castle." In 1777, Taylor and Skinner compiled a road map of Ireland with drawings showing the bridge crossing the River Esk at the rear of the castle. According to the National Inventory, the existing 3-arch bridge was built in 1855, and replaced an earlier six-arch bridge which was located to the northeast of the present structure. Both bridges appear to have coexisted for a period around 1860, which makes sense because they would have had to use the old bridge while they were building the new bridge. In 1837, the first edition 6-inch map by the Ordnance Survey of Ireland shows the approach to the original bridge from Bridge Street here in Donegal town, carrying straight down behind the castle, and the bridge crossing over the river and continuing straight up Meeting House Street and on to Killybegs and Macharles. It goes straight through the land that the outbuildings on the Methodist church that exist at the moment beside the river here in Donegal town would be, and that would give credence to the old name of Bridge End for that end of the bridge. The approach to the bridge from the centre of town, from a diamond down, shows the road coming down Bridge Street, turning in behind the castle grounds, going straight through the building that would be Julie's Beauty Salon now. It's kind of a parallelogram shape, and it's probably shaped because the new bridge took a turn onto the bridge from the road, and it carried straight down behind the castle and straight across and up Meeting House Street, which is Bridge End. On the 1837 map, there are no buildings to the left-hand side of Bridge Street from Carney's building down to the new bridge. The terrace of buildings, which includes Henderson's, the Scotchman's, La Belladonna and the Real Inn now, were all built in the same time around 1860, after the new bridge was completed. And before that, on this map, the whole area from Henderson's Hardware down to the castle, round to the old bridge, is a vacant space with a low wall around it, and it's marked on the map as a fish market. When I was growing up in Waterloo Place, the old neighbours used to talk of a second wooden bridge being situated to the western side of the now present iron bridge. So that'd be the Waterloo Place side of it. I found a lithographic print dating from 1820 in the National Library of Ireland, which depicts an old six-arch bridge crossing from behind the castle, and also shows stepping stones crossing over on the northern side of the bridge, and some of these can still be seen today. However, on another lithographic print I found in the National Library dated 1838, it shows the old six-arch bridge, the one in the print, but it also shows a smaller bridge made up of stone-built stanchions with a wooden decking raised simply to the road level. In this exact same spot in the 1837 Ordnance Survey map, this structure is named as the Salmon Weir, and you can still see the remains of that today. If you walk down to Waterloo Place, stand at the river wall opposite the second house back from the Iron Bridge, facing the castle, and look down into the river, you'll see a stone-built abutment, which is a structure built to support a bridge, and it just comes up to below the present road level. There's trees and stuff on it now, but you can still see the structure. And there are small bushes on top of it, and it's about 2 meters high up from the riverbed, and if you look straight across the river towards the castle, in behind the sewage scheme inspection manholes that were built recently, you can still see the one on the opposite side of the river, which would be on the other side of that walkway bridge. This walk bridge would have given a shortcut access from the town centre to New Row and Waterloo Place before the Iron Bridge was built, which was built in 1895. Another similar stone and wooden bridge was also in place on the site of the existing bridge beside McGee's factory at Water Street, and at that time you would have had to go the whole way up there to cross the bridge. So you would have come up behind the castle, in behind the castle, stepped down and crossed over onto New Row on this Salmon Weir, as it's described as. I recently found 2 pencil sketches in a leather-bound notepad attributed to James Stark Fleming from 1834 to 1922, an artist described as he produced on-the-spot sketches and copied older original drawings located in the Royal Irish Academy in Dublin. One of these drawings is in the old Franciscan Abbey here in Donegal town, showing many parts of the Abbey that are no longer existing. And the other of these drawings is exactly the same as my print, looking at the back of the castle with the bridge, except it's signed by James Stark Fleming as Donegal Castle, 1833, from J.S. Lever. Now, J.S. Lever has a collection of drawings from around Ireland in the National Library, and some of them are taken from older drawings, copied from older drawings that are unnamed artists. I found in the National Library an older and similar drawing showing the castle and bridge, but even with more of the castle walls being shown as part of a sketchbook of 50 sketches of antiquities and landscapes in various parts of Ireland, including castles, cathedrals and ruins, created sometime between 1770 and 1830, but the artist is unknown. These pencil sketches that were later used to produce more complicated drawings and engravings, and it's plain to see that they form the basis of my print signed Lewis, which was represented in the Dublin Saturday magazine. So, was the S.L. Lewis signature on my print actually J.S. Lever signature misinterpreted? I don't know, but it's definitely copied from the early drawings. And when the present stone bridge was built in 1855, a new road was cut in, creating what we call the green, where the red shed is, to give a more direct access to the new bridge on the Mancharlis Road, so the donkeys and carts didn't have to go up the hill coming off the bridge. They just cut straight out and away onto Killybegs. And the Methodist Church acquired the land at the end of the old bridge and built a new church between 1857 and 1859 on its present site. It would be logical to think that a lot of the stone from the wall around there and maybe parts of the Methodist Church would have used the old stone from the Toss Bridge when the new bridge was opened. And finally, I decided to create an image showing a representation of what the old bridge may have looked like. So I went up to Dr. McCarty's surgery, up to the roof, not the top roof, and I took photographs across from the castle, the new bridge, the Methodist Church, the hill, and Waterloo Place. And on the computer I took out the buildings, took out the schools, took out the churches, took out the new bridge, and I found a similar six-arch bridge to the one described as the existing older bridge, and I stuck that in there, and I turned the hill back into wind bushes and trees and stuff, and my wife Nuala watercoloured it up to put some life back into it, and you'll see a representation of that at the end of this short piece. It's been a really interesting experience and a journey of research, and I've enjoyed every moment of it, and it's always great to add another little layer of knowledge to the recorded history of Donegal town. I'm Zack Gallagher. I want to thank you for listening to me. Happy Heritage Week.